My relation to Einstein. I have seen him a couple of times, but never spoke to him. Never had a chance, and of course, like everybody else, I have admired him immensely for the audacity of his thinking. You know, it is somehow summarized in the sentence he may have said or may attribute it to him. Does Zurich stop at this train? So he's evidently at some kind of railway station and he's going to Zurich. And instead of saying, does this train stop at Zurich, he says, does Zurich stop at this train? Everything is relative, is the sentence attributed to him. So it's a question of Zurich and train relative position. And who is moving? Which one is moving? Well, that is a matter of conventionalism. Everything is relative. I find that fantastic, and of course there is much, much more to it. But you are probably also heading for some other points about Einstein, are you? The audacity of thinking. The point of departure is a fantastic audacity in thinking, for breaking through so many conventions. And even if I were not able to formulate it at the age of 18, for making space and time similar. I mean, there is the famous saying, space is associated with extension, and so is time. If you have no time, you disappear immediately. So space-time, and then you get this four-dimensional reality if you take three space dimensions, which is also famous. I found that extremely attractive, of course. But later I came to the more, let us say, his blind points. And we are heading for something about China, but let me first say his basic dogma, natura non facit saltus, nature doesn't jump. And quantum theory, Max Planck, was all about jumpiness. Nature making jumps, the idea of electrons in various kinds of inner and outer circles around the nucleus, and making jumps from one to the other. Natura non facit saltus. Nature doesn't make jumps. Well, one may of course speculate whether he sensed some kind of threat from Max Planck and those people, and that he would no longer rule the ground alone, that his audacity was paralleled by another person's audacity. Maybe, but that is some kind of cheap psychology, and I think one should rather stick to his doctrine that nature doesn't make jumps. Well, the point has been established that nature does make jumps, and society certainly makes jumps. So you can say that Einstein then comes out as a person of stability. I wouldn't say the present U.S. mantra word stabilization, but stability. And Max Planck comes out as the person who sees the nature very jumpy and very changing. I think there is room for both. And the attitude has been, I think, a very healthy one, to celebrate both Einstein and Max Planck. And physics has advanced enormously because of that. Yeah, surely. Let us first point out a little thing. What would make one believe that these two giants know something about peace? They there was very little talk about peace, except just that word. The talk was about war. And Sigmund Freud had a tendency to see it as built into the human psyche. The thanatos, the death drive. And Einstein didn't have that. But his solution to it was rule of law. And he simply had it as a dogma. But a considerably better dogma than Freud's death drive, if I may put it simplistically. No, of course they're terribly relevant, but I think that today we look at peace in a more positive way. I mean, it's something to be achieved. And I have tried to make my contribution with the distinction between negative and positive peace from 1958. Negative peace, meaning to reduce violence, positive peace, and that's the important point, meaning to build positive relations. And if you read Freud and Einstein, I don't see anything about building positive relations. In other words, positive peace is missing. Einstein then has rule of law to try to overrule those who break the negative peace by engaging in violence. And Freud seems to see that as a kind of losing game, as far as I can understand. But out of this came something very important. Came the Russell-Einstein Manifesto. Because Einstein then found Bertrand Russell more kin to his kind of thinking. And Bertrand Russell was in favor of disarmament, nuclear disarmament, very much against nuclear weapons. Einstein felt maybe partly responsible. And there is, of course, the famous letter from Einstein to President Roosevelt about encouraging Project Manhattan, building of the atom bomb. So if you look at all of that, it's a complex history which has been, I think, told again and again and again and again, and I'm not quite sure that we will get much important things by rehashing that one. But what is said about China, and I'm looking at Laurent Alexandre here, and I think has to be seen against the background that he visited China, if I am not too wrong, in 1922-23. And that was a very different China from the China today. It was a China very low down, to put it that way. And I don't think one can blame Einstein from reflecting on what he saw, which was horrible. It was also seen by another person who also found it horrible, and that was Mao Zedong. And the difference was that Mao Zedong was doing something about it. Einstein was commenting. So I wouldn't take Einstein's readings of China 22-23 and hold it against him. I don't think even an Einstein could predict what was going to happen to China.